It was like a horror movie. I've never seen such a thing.
Hurricane Laura, the extremely dangerous monster storm on a collision course with Texas and Louisiana. Forecasters warning it's unsurvivable.
Global warming, I think that may have something to do with these storms getting this strong. It didn't happen for 50 years, and then all of a sudden we had two in the last 15 years to wipe the whole town out.
Whenever you lose hope, that's just devil's knocking at your door, just waiting for you to fall in his grasp.
A series of deadly hurricanes have devastated southern Louisiana. Starting with Rita in 2005, Ike 3 years later, then Laura and Delta in 2020. And experts say 2024 is expected to be an especially volatile hurricane season. Researchers say that rising sea surface temperatures are contributing to more intense hurricanes that strengthen much faster than before.
I think that Cameron's uniquely affected by climate change because we are close to the Gulf of Mexico. If a hurricane hits, we're ground zero. We're going to be the ones that's losing our homes, getting flooded.
Cameron, Louisiana has lost 90% of its population since 2000 and sustained millions of dollars in damages over the last decade. Fewer than 200 residents remain.
Cameron's definitely like a ghost town now. We say that every day at work. We'll look outside and like, nobody at the store, nobody at the cafe, nobody driving by. It's depressing. It's really depressing.
But what's a ghost town without a few ghosts?
So living here is it's not for the weak. If you want groceries, you have to drive an hour. If you want to go shopping, you have to drive an hour. Medical care, doctor's appointments, anything, it's an hour away. So it's just very isolated.
For the people still here, it's a struggle to get by, with the threat of a potentially stronger, more devastating storm always looming on the horizon.
We're in Lake Charles, an hour away from Cameron. All right, I got you another pot of coffee going before I leave.
Tressie LaBeouf Smith used to run the only sit-down restaurant in downtown Cameron.
We've been living here 3 years since the storm, Hurricane Laura in 2020. This is the hardest year I've ever had in 10 years. But inflation has put it on us, and since the storm, we just can't get back right. All right, love you. Bye. I'll see you this evening. Love you too. I opened up Anchors Up Grill in 2014, and we had a building here, and we had an outdoor eating area. It looked like a beachy scene, you know. We could get together and people would sit out here and like play the guitar or whatever, you know. Listen to music, watch football games. It was a happy atmosphere. And, you know, good food, quick service.
But in 2020, Hurricane Laura flattened her restaurant. Tressie now works out of a food trailer she runs with her daughter. It's one of the only places left in town to buy food.
After Hurricane Laura, there's not many people here anymore.
These days, the only newcomers to town are mostly workers from the natural gas plant. The facility plans to expand and build a new center for exporting U.S. gas. Protesters have delayed the project, calling it a carbon bomb. But for the locals we spoke to, the economic gains are hard to ignore.
The natural gas plant expanding would help us tremendously. How you doing, Mr. Ron?
Hey, Tressie, I've been okay. How about you?
Good.
Can I get a grilled shrimp salad today?
Sheriff Ron Johnson's worked for the department for over 3 decades.
I was talking to another sheriff, and it was in the aftermath of Laura, and I was naming to him that families that I know that is still here, and that other sheriff had told me, Sheriff, if you can name them, that's pretty bad.
Google Maps Street View still shows the old Cameron, years before Hurricanes Laura and Delta's 1-2 punch in 2020. This is Cameron today.
Life was good here. Movers and shakers were here in Cameron. and it's never going to be the same. Give me a briefing of what we had today so far.
Sheriff Johnson's retiring this year.
It was time to get out and pass the torch home, and I'm glad to do it.
The storms have taken his house 3 times. He now lives almost an hour north, where he hopes the intensity of the storms won't follow.
The house that we just built is our retirement home. We don't plan on moving. That is my plans, to never leave Cameron Parish.
It's not just Cameron. Rising sea levels and melting sea ice are vacating an entire village in Kivalina, Alaska. An indigenous community in Louisiana was relocated by the state after residents lost 98% of their land from coastal erosion. For younger residents of Cameron Parish, it's hard to see a future.
So I am moving in with my fiance whenever we have our house. It's only 30 minutes north of here, but it feels like I'm leaving what I've known my entire life.
Anna DuPont's family is one of the few left in the lower part of the parish, right near the coast.
We're at T-Boy's Cajun Grill, where we used to hang out before the hurricane. Just seeing the concrete slab now, it's so much smaller than I remember. I mean, this place used to be so full of life every night. Oh man, it used to smell like burgers. There's so much stuff that survived that's like, why is that still there whenever everything else was destroyed?
By age 18, Anna had seen her home demolished twice by hurricanes. First Rita in 2005, then Laura in 2020.
When we were finally able to come down here, we just started driving and then we just got lost. We got lost in a place we've known our entire lives because there was nothing left. A lot of the kids down here, they didn't have a strong family home. And I feel like a lot of that's to do with the storm because, of course, parents are going to get into fights of should we stay or should we go? Should we keep living here and just have to rebuild every 5 years? A lot of my friends' parents or even peers had tried to use drugs to cope with the fact that they're living in a camper, they're living with 5 other people. I'm a psychology major, and with my degree, I want to go back and get a master's and become a licensed professional counselor to hopefully help disaster victims or victims of grief to cope. I don't think that I would want my kids to grow up here because I know how isolating it was on me, and now it's worse. Our high school, there's classes of 6 people, and I think there's classes of 0. I want them to be able to choose their friends and not just have to grow up with them their entire lives. I did feel trapped in Cameron. I felt like this is isolating. There's nothing else here. I felt like, am I gonna do this for the rest of my life? Am I gonna keep doing this, keep rebuilding after hurricanes? I did feel trapped, but now that I see a way out, I don't want to take it, but I'm going to.
This is where I lived before the hurricane, where I raised my kids at. Here we are, nothing again. This is where I thought I'd be the rest of my life. You know, really, I just didn't think we'd have to start over again.
There are some people the storms can't chase away.
I lived like 2 minutes away before the storm, 2 minutes from my cafe. Now I gotta drive an hour. Cameron is the end of the world. When you get down here, you can't go no further. It's at the Gulf. But I mean, that's where home is. That's where I was raised. My kids were raised. All my family. The struggle's worth it for me. I mean, there's days I question it, but it's worth it. I'd rather be where I know everybody. I'd rather be home.